Breaking news on Get Up. Carmelo Anthony has officially retired from the NBA, ending his 19-year career as the league's 9th all-time leading scorer. Melo released a video on social media moments ago saying, quote, "The time has come for me to say goodbye." Anthony, who turns 39 next week, did not play this season and last played with the Lakers in 2021-2022. So, Vince, I'll start with you. Your reaction to Carmelo Anthony's, applause.
Many battles against Melo. It was great to see, if you would, his redemption return when a lot of us felt that he should not have been out of the league, regardless of what people thought, and him come back and just dominate. He's had an unbelievable career. Now he gets to enjoy his kid doing some great things in the circuit right now. So, I applaud him. And it's always tough, as a player, when you're trying to decide about retiring, when is the right time? So I always respect the guy when he says, it's over and it's time to move on. So kudos to Carmelo Anthony.
Wendy, what do you think? How do we put Carmelo Anthony's career in perspective here?
First ballot Hall of Famer, all-time great college player, tremendous scorer, one of the great scorers that we've ever seen. Kind of changed the game with his isolation play. Was one of the fastest release shots I've ever seen. And, bounced around a little bit in his career. Maybe not every choice he made was ideal, but extremely well-respected and well-liked. Huge for the Olympic team, one of the greatest performers in all of USA basketball history, tremendously decorated Olympic career. And I'll say this, there's a little bit of a schism between him and the Nuggets because of the way he left. Now that this announcement has come, and with Denver one game away from the finals, it would be terrific for the fans in Denver if they could honor Carmelo potentially during this upcoming finals. He's a huge part of their history. They haven't had a lot of success, and he brought them some.
Let's keep in mind, too, that Jamal Murray is a Nugget because of the Carmelo Anthony trade. That was one of the last draft picks that was sent in that deal. But I got to cover Carmelo Anthony when he was traded to New York. I was part of the beat writers at the time that went through that whole process when he was traded at the All-Star game. Literally, I went from one team to another, one Western Conference to the Eastern Conference. But I'll say this, because Wendy said it all about his career. When you talk about Olympics, Melo, you talk about a special player. I saw a very determined scorer. At times, he was maniacal about his ability to score one-on-one. He thought he could beat anyone. And there weren't many players in the league that thought they could stop him. That was the other thing, the respect that he got around the league. But let's just also talk about the evolution of a man, of somebody that came out of Syracuse, that was a young star, that had to go through some stuff early in his NBA career, had to have a talking to from David Stern at one point about the way he was behaving. And what he's turned into now, just as a human being, and everything that he has done with himself post-career has been impressive. So I, again, like Vince said, I applaud him for everything that he's become, and I look forward to seeing what his son can become as well.
Yeah, Carmelo Anthony is one of the greatest scorers in this generation of basketball. But to piggyback off of something you said, the evolution of the man, but also the evolution of the player in Carmelo Anthony, because I remember once upon a time when he was moved from the Knicks to OKC, he scoffed at the idea of coming off of the bench, but then he reinvented himself at other stops in his career, namely Portland and then with the Los Angeles Lakers, accepting any role that the team had for him, and that was a part of the leadership, that intangible that he brought when he went to those stops later on as his career winded down. So for a guy to have that type of humility at that stage in his career, after being staunch in his approach and his perspective and wanting to be in the starting lineup and being one of the best scorers in the league, to me, that was impressive. And let that be a lesson to a lot of young players that are in the NBA now of doing all of the little things in order to help your team win at the highest level.
All very well said. Again, to recap, Carmelo Anthony officially announcing his retirement on social media just moments ago after a 19-year NBA career, an excellent, outstanding career. And a game like this leaves people a lot of time to tweet. Magic Johnson tweeted, "In my 44 years of being associated with the NBA, I never thought I'd see a Boston Celtics team, a franchise with 17 championships, quit. I know Celtics fans all over the world must be disgusted and devastated." And our Stephen A. Smith, also watching the game, he says, "You know what? I don't even recognize these Celtics. They're getting their ass kicked. Look like they're barely trying. The Heat are getting into lanes uncontested and at will. Hashtag embarrassing. And that's a word that the Celtics used after the game. It was a really, really rough game. Wendy, you were there. We've talked about the fallout. Assuming they don't become the first team in NBA history to come back from 3 games to none down and win this series, how does last night's loss and this series result affect the Celtics' future?
Yeah, they've just got to re-examine the kind of team they want to be, because Joe Mazzulla is a forward-thinking coach. He thinks offense before defense. He thinks three-point shooting, but they are not the same defensive team that they were a year ago. When a year ago, even on a night when they weren't playing great offense, at least the opposition felt them defensively. They were a physical team. They were tough. That just hasn't really been the case in this postseason. They were a good defensive team during the regular season, I have to say that. They've not been the same team at all defensively. And so while you can talk about, emotions and whether they quit on the game and schematics, it starts really with the fact that they're nowhere near the same type of team as they were a year ago, even though their personnel is about 90% the same.
I'm not talking about whether they quit on the game. Magic Johnson is talking about that they quit on the game. What do you make of that?
Yeah, when I saw that tweet, that's when you're like, whoa, all right? Because, first of all, it's not the first time it was suggested. Let's remember that in Game 2, what is the one key quote from Joe Mazzulla about his team when they talked about competing and whatnot? We competed, but then we just let go of the rope. And he just said it so, dismissively. But let go of the rope, for everybody that doesn't understand what that means in sports, it means you quit. It means your players gave up. Let go of the rope. I'm no longer holding on. I'm no longer fighting. I just let go. I surrender. That's a dangerous thing to say about your players. And then for Magic Johnson to then put it out there as well as what he saw, as so many of us saw in that game. Yeah, that's a really tough indictment of your team and what they're made up of.
Vince.
And to follow it up, Han, with a Game 3 performance of the same thing that you talked about. So you talk about letting go of the rope, and at the end of Game 2, you come on the road, which is the most important game of your season. And after a half of a quarter, the rope is now let go for the rest of the game. And it just got bad. You bring in your bench, your second, third string for a little life or whatever. You can say, yes, they should have put them in just to see or find something. I agree with that. But even their second, third string guys who get an opportunity to play didn't have life either. It's just, you mentioned hot play, hot shooting. They were shooting great Miami Heat from the 3-point line, which opened up lobs, penetration, drive, everything. I just think the Celtics defense, because the Miami Heat has had time to prepare for them, night in and night out, has exposed them.
Tough times for the Celtics, who will try and avoid the sweep tomorrow night. LeBron James and the Lakers are going to try and avoid their own sweep when they host the Nuggets tonight at 8:30 Eastern here on ESPN. The Lakers franchise has never even won a game when they're down 3 games to none. Their 8-0 record is the worst in NBA history, so they're up against it. But, Alan Hahn, who doesn't think it's over, is Lonnie Walker. Listen to Lonnie and what he had to say.
It ain't over until there's 4 games, and that's the best part about it. Kings don't look down when they got crowns on their head. You don't want that to fall. So we're not over with. We're a whole bunch of Kings over here. We're ready to eat. We're starving.
Kings don't starve. That's my big problem with the metaphor. But what did you think of that?
Yeah, Kings generally
eat that. It's one of their things. Whenever they feel like it,
isn't that always the image?
Call for food,
Kings
and it shows up. Right,
them.
Exactly.
And
but anyway, let's not get hung up.
It is Lonnie Walker the 4th.
Yes.
So you need to win 4. So I guess maybe that's what he's feeling as well. That 4 is very important for him. Remember, he had a huge 4th quarter in the previous series as well. So perhaps this is the point of now these series when they go down. A team goes down 0-3, you find all the platitudes and all the cliches and all the different ways that you can motivate yourself to believe that it's not over when everybody around you is telling you no, it's over. It's nobody comes back from this. So I respect what he's having to say there. You just have to feel like for the Lakers that this series can't be over in 4. This story can't end in a sweep. Can it? It shouldn't, because it's been a fun story. It's been a great story. This is a prideful team. They do play hard. I don't think this is like a Celtics situation at all with quitting and giving up. So I do expect to see the Lakers fight all the way to the end here. I just don't know. I mean, they're not coming back in the series. Clearly, history says they won't. But I don't think that they'll be a team that will go down without a fight.
What do you think happened to the Lakers?
They got beat to sleep by the Denver Nuggets.
Right, a really
that's what's
good
going
team,
on.
right?
A really good basketball team, and that has to be the story. And I'm not going to go all Michael Malone on them. But here's what I will say. The Nuggets have impressed me, and I think the performance that we've seen from Jokic throughout these playoffs validates the MVPs that he won a couple of seasons ago. So that's my biggest takeaway. Second biggest takeaway, Jamal Murray is one of the best point guards in the entire league. The entire league. And I get it. A lot of people don't have him top of mind or at the top of the point guard list because of him recovering from that knee injury. It took him a couple of years, but now he's back fully healthy. And all you have to do is look at his splits from the regular season to the postseason. I mean, he's up 8 points per game.
Yeah.
And you're talking about increases in his field goal percentage, 47% from the field, 41% from three, and 91% from the free throw line. So damn near 50, 40, 90. That's what you're getting every night. And then Wendy talked about it earlier in the show. Jamal Murray in the last quarter of game 2 and then the first 2 quarters of game 3, the guy had 53 points.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable what he's doing.
Chris, you're a Lakers fan, man. Like, what
Wait a minute.
What are the Lakers going to be?
Yeah, he hijacked our Lakers discussion.
It's not about
We brought him on here to talk Lakers,
about the
and
Denver
he's talking Nuggets. It's like Michael Malone got in
You
it.
know what? You know why I'm talking about the Denver Nuggets? Here's why I'm talking about the Denver
We got
Nuggets.
weeks to talk about the Nuggets.
No. Here's why I'm talking about the Denver Nuggets in a Lakers conversation. Because every team in the Western Conference for the foreseeable future is going to be paying rent to the Denver Nuggets.
Okay.
They are that good. They're not going away. And what that means is it's the last time we're going to see the Lakers compete for championships with Bron and AD as the main team.
Oh,
Now, see, that's nice, because I promised the people we would talk about the Lakers and the potential addition.
Give me some time.
No, because Wendy said something about Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie Irving.
Wendy said Kyrie Irving for the Lakers.
Well, what choices do you have, though? If you're the Lakers, what options do you have?
That's a good question.
You don't have any resources. You don't have any draft picks.
That's a good question, and I'd like Brian Windhorst to answer it for us. Wendy, what are the choices? Who could be in the mix for the Lakers to add this offseason?
Well, the thing is, the point guard position is extremely important for them, the way that they play. And you can't really ask LeBron to play point guard as much as you did in the past because the strain is too much. And so D'Angelo Russell, he has had moments where he's been good. But if the Lakers are going to invest in him in a major way, it may cause them to pause. And look, let's just be honest here. It behooves Kyrie Irving to have the Lakers chasing him. But the significant reason why he left the Nets was because they wouldn't give him the type of contract he wanted. He wants to apply pressure to the Dallas Mavericks to give him that contract. And what better way than having the Lakers showing interest in him? And we know this because he showed up at a playoff game right there, just in case people weren't talking about it enough. He wanted everybody to know, hey, I'm checking out this Lakers situation, okay?
Yeah.
To do it, they would have to pretty much jettison everybody they just picked up, including Rui Hachimura. They'd have to probably waive Malik Beasley. There are sign and trade scenarios where if they could get Dallas's cooperation and maybe sweeten that pot for them, that they could keep more of their roster together. But I'm just going to tell you, Kyrie Irving is a possibility. It also would require him maybe to take less than the max, which I'm not sure he's got an appetite to do since he just asked for a trade out of Brooklyn when that was on the table. But I would be remiss not to point out that it is something that is possible and on the table for the Lakers if they want to go that way.
Sure, they just have to, like you said, get rid of everybody that helped turn their season around. That's an interesting idea. Vince, what would you think? What would you think about Kyrie and LeBron together in L.A.?
I'm going to keep this short and sweet, then you can move on to Han. I am not getting rid of Austin Reeves at all. So if you can get Kyrie Irving and bring him in there, fine. But that guy, okay, there you go. And then whatever happens. But I think Austin Reeves has been great for him. And Kyrie Irving, yes, he will be an upgrade. But like I say, is he willing to take less money? Because if you give him all this money, like, what are you bringing in to make this team, like we said, conference finals? So what's more important to your organization? Having a solid roster to possibly get through that list of names, or Kyrie Irving and a max deal?
Got about 45 seconds.
Yeah, Vince's face at the very beginning of that statement was all you needed when he just made that scrunched up face. But look, I'll just reference the Reaper meme that is all around social media of the Reaper at the door of the Cavs, the Reaper at the door of Boston, the Reaper at the door of the Nets, Reaper at the door of the Mavericks. At Laker door next?
Yeah.
Be careful what you wish. They've got a good group. They've got to get more out of Anthony Davis.
It's that simple. It's that simple. And can you trust that you're going to get more from Anthony Davis? Can you trust that you're going to see this guy next year being able to give you a 3 or 4 month span and stay healthy and available with that level of productivity? I don't. I've seen enough from Anthony Davis since he's been in the Lakers uniform.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.